Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Town of the Paw Council meeting for October 24th, 2016. Item number two on the agenda is the adoption of it.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Excuse me. Be it resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Any discussion? Any additions or deletions? All those in favor? I do want to, before we go on to the minutes, I just wanted to make this one little statement about some meetings taking place. I'm reminded of the Quebec referendum. If you were in favor of leaving the country, then you were to vote no. If you did not want to leave the country, then you were to vote yes. And it caused all kinds of confusion and disarray. So I want to say publicly that TOCO is holding a pension information meeting. They're offering up 2 sessions. This will be specifically about the solvency exemption election. These sessions are for all present and past members of the United Steelworkers, formerly IWA Pension Plan, and for Unifor, formerly CEP Pension Plan. These sessions are being held at the Wascana Inn on Wednesday. That's the day after tomorrow, October 26, 2016. The first session is at 2 p.m. and the second session is at 6:30. You know who you are if you should be attending those meetings. Item number 3, confirmation of minutes.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting and the committee of the whole minutes of October 11, 2016 and the minutes of the special meeting of October 17, 2016 be hereby approved, all statutory declarations having been complied with.
Okay. Any questions of the minutes? I'm going to call question. All in favor? Carried. I'll just be a moment. All right. Item number 4, citizens period. Mr. Hebert.
Back.
Welcome back.
Try to.
If you could just state your name and your street address for the record, please.
My name is Jack Hebert. I live at 323 Bignell Avenue in Paul, Manitoba.
Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Okay, I've supplied a list. I'll go through it real quickly without any interruptions. My 15 minutes, and then you guys can answer it on your 15 minutes. Okay, here's a quote from the website. No person shall remove snow, grass, ice, or leaves onto town property, sidewalks, streets, back lanes, highways, etc., etc., etc. I hope you guys have an agreement with the highways, because they pile snow up on the boulevards in winter, snow, salt, gravel, dirt, and everything. And then, especially this year, I can't remember whether there was another year. This year, it didn't get cleaned off. I had a heck of a time raking that stuff off, trying to get the grass to grow, okay? And then I'm always fighting with them because they always run that plow by my sidewalk or by my driveway sort of thing. So, anyways, that's something else. The highways plow, sidewalk. Highways plow, okay, I'll deal with that. Sidewalk machine, again, and I've gone over this, I don't know how many times, how many years. You guys run the sidewalk machine down your sidewalk and you plug the driveways, sort of thing. And me, I've compensated because I bought myself 2 sizes of snow blowers. But you guys are still plowing it in front of the senior citizens' home, disability people's home, and stuff like that. You guys have got no idea what kind of difficulty these people come through. It's just like, oh, well, we can't do that because of time constraints and budgets and everything. This is all going to go into the one pot, which basically I'm asking you people to start respecting the citizens of this town a little bit more. Blocking driveways, senior citizens, and the garbage pickup guys. Garbage pickup guys, they go by, they block it all off, and then the garbage pickup guys have to crawl over these tall piles of snow to pick up the garbage. Come on, you guys, work together a little bit, all right? Highways department says it's the town's responsibility, and the town says It's a highway's responsibility. Same old question, no cure. My problem is, the street that I live on, the Lathland, that section of Lathland, is a provincial highway. It's classified as a provincial highway, a truck route. So, the town comes by once or twice a year, and they do back lanes, and they do whatever sort of thing. In the meantime, the highways goes by. If you get 2 inches of snow, they go by, and they don't slow down. They just whip right by sort of thing, and they throw snow as far as my hedges, you know. And I've talked to Larry, and some days he's good, and you get a new guy in the plow, and he just doesn't give a rat's. Okay? Snow blow the path. I blow the path for the garbage guys every chance I get, and my 2 neighbors who are disability, I snow blow, and I mow their lawn, and I do all the pickup. I pick up garbage. I pick up garbage. I'm trying to mention that. There's a spot there between the Dairy Queen and the high school, that little block there sort of thing. I bet you I fill 2 bags a day. And I do a major pickup in the spring and a major pickup in the fall. It looks like I'm old and decrepit and I've got a walker. No, it's carrying my garbage bag and I'm filling it.
You do fill them, yes, you do.
And, okay, little kudo. You guys gave me a blue plastic 45-gallon drum to chain to my telephone pole just outside my driveway sort of thing. There are actually some people that use it. And there are some people that actually put garbage 5 feet away from the thing on the ground. Okay, other than lazy, I've got other comments about that. We won't worry about that. The midnight foot traffic is getting worse. The A&B grocery is closed. UCM, weekend night crawlers, unattended kids out all night, breaking into cars. I caught a couple of kids already trying to, they don't break in right off the bat unless you catch them something, but they'll go into the driveway and they'll check and see if the doors are unlocked. Enough. Damage, graffiti, noise, etc. The street garbage continues. Kudos to Chris Anderson. I don't know if some of you people know that. She picks up twice as much garbage as I do. She's got the energy of a young lady, and if she were single, I would marry her. Homeless people harassing people for money, basically blocking the doorways to Giant Tiger Town Center, and even the theater, drunk on the street, smoking dope out in the open. Known drug dealers plying their trade openly. I'm a former correctional officer, probation officer. I know these guys by name. Seems to be more and more showing up. Maybe the homeless shelter rules should be tightened or it should be closed. Oh, there's a can of worms. No more hanging in groups of 2 or 3. Now it's groups of 5 or 6 and more than 4 or 5 groups. Yesterday, I tell you, it looked like a northern community up there sort of thing. It was 4 or 5 or 6 there and there was 8 over there, and it's just, where are they coming from? And what, you know, I realize they closed the homeless center down for during the day, and they let certain amount of them sleep there, but a lot of them are sneaking in and sleeping anyhow. It's a real pain. Response time to the RCMP public call-ins. I've called in twice now. There's openly smoking dope out between the theater and the Giant Tiger. 4 or 5 of them there. Not a care in the world. I've seen the biggest black bear I ever seen in my life. Rawls Island Road, about 100 feet from the dump, going toward the dump. I called RCMP. I said, do you want me to call DNR? No, we'll take care of it. I went back and forth. Kids are going by on bicycles and stuff like that. My goodness, that'd be like a snack for that bear. Nothing seemed to be done. I'm questioning, I think at the beginning of this, I'm thinking, response time. Okay, it's not there. Something a little more on a personal matter. How are we doing here? Oh, good. LaRose, Bignell, Settee Streets, replacement of sewer lines. Some question as to where the property line is with respect to town property, replacement costs when construction is going on in regards to sewer lines and stuff like that. I believe that LaRose got postponed or something or other or whatever, and I'm curious, I hear bits and pieces, because it was postponed, we lose the grant. I mean, you can answer to that later. Bignell Avenue is my avenue, sort of thing. I've had an ongoing problem with my sewer ever since I moved into there 18 years ago, sort of thing. And there's been an ongoing, not really a dispute, but a kind of a, I don't want to take responsibility, et cetera, as to where the sewer line is broken and where the roots are coming in, sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be patient, and I talked to Jody, and I found out that you guys eventually are going to do the road, Bignell Avenue, Settee Avenue, eventually, somewhere down the road. And I'm thinking, all right, when they're doing Bignell Avenue and you're up to my spot, let's check my sewer line, exactly where it is. If it's my fault, if it's on my line, then I will pay to get it replaced while it's all dug up. It's only common sense. Now, if it's on the town side, I'm just hoping that you guys are gonna own up and say, okay, Jack's there, it's on the town side. I'll get down in the ditch and I'll dig dirt for a couple of days, just to soften the blow. But like, I got the plumber in twice a year, spring and fall, tree roots. And if I had my way, I would take all them trees and all them hedges down and put in a fence. I just don't have the money for it right now. I'm paying for other stuff. That's replacement cost when construction is going on. Okay, got that. Potholes, they're taking forever. All of a sudden, boom. Oh, okay, we did the corner here, but we didn't do the half the street from the corner to the back lane. I defy any of you guys to go for a ride in your car with a full cup of coffee, just a little tab, open it up, leave it full, and drive around a couple of blocks and see how much coffee is spilt onto your dash, okay? It's horrible. I know you guys are trying to get to it, and I'm not going to make excuses for you, because you guys are good at making excuses for your stuff, and I'm being here being a pain, okay? Of course, I was talking about the potholes there on, right near the Legion, right by the RCMP building sort of thing, and nobody had any answers for me, and then all of a sudden, the corner's fixed. And he looks like you had a contractor in here to do that sort of thing. Now, did you know that the contractor was in, and you could have shared that with me then? That would have softened the blow a little bit, but no. Maybe you guys didn't even know, or you just hired the guys, whatever. Anyways, it's getting done, but it's very slow. Again, a little more respect for the citizens of the PAW, okay? We got to live here. Even some that were repaired are still in worse shape from the last meeting. They're still chewing gum patches here and there sort of thing, and there's got to be, with all the educated engineers and all the educated people you guys got in positions there at the Public Works and stuff like that, somebody has got to come up with an idea to patch them holes so that they don't break down as often, okay? And these are residential streets. These are not truck routes, okay? I can see a truck route pounding the heck out of the streets and stuff like that. Oh, okay, we've got to repair potholes every 2 weeks. This is residential streets. Tax break for the mill. Oh boy, there's a bucket of worms. Make it up by taxing us. Never said by taxing us, but he said we have to make it up somehow, I believe was the expression sort of thing. No jobs if it closes, no money, no taxes. Where's the money going to come from? All of a sudden you guys have lost, well, first of all, you guys lost, what, $500,000 a year for 3 years just to make the front page sort of thing? You know, where are you guys going to make this up? I have a suggestion down the road here sort of thing. I hope that the backs of the taxpaying citizens are not going to have to put up with this, and you know, because okay, well, let's be the hero there and let's offer this and let's offer that. Be careful. Yeah, quit treating the taxpaying general public like idiots and show some respect. We pay taxes, your wages. You work for us, not the other way around. Listen, maybe ask our permission once in a while. Okay, here's another one. Give the airport back to the government. I read some stuff in the last couple of weeks there in the paper sort of thing. You guys got a company, Wasco or whatever, is coming in sort of thing that's going to take over the running of the airport. Are they funded by the federal government? Or are they funded by the town? There's a question, okay? If they're funded by the town, we're not getting any ground. You guys are still spending money. You guys are only making money 1 month a year, and that's because of fires. And it's too bad that you guys, the airport makes a profit on a disaster, and it can't be like an ongoing thing. Give it back. It's not paying. It's not good business. You know how many businesses would run in the red like that for years and years and years sort of thing, and it's not working. We have an airport close to town. Okay, yeah, sure. The government wants to have a big airport like that, access for certain size aircrafts and whatever the stuff is, that sort of thing. Give it back to the government. I don't know why we took it over in the first place. It was a bad move. Let's see. Was there ever anything done about the perpetrators to the 2 fires? The apartment block on the corner of Crosley and 3rd and the school. Was this swept under the carpet because somebody didn't want to play the R card? Okay, that's a question I have, that's all. I tell you, if it was my kid that set the fire sort of thing, you know, he'd be in jail and I'd be paying for the rest of my life. Not a good issue. little things, real quick. You go down the odd sidewalk in town, and I'm gonna actually use the wheelchair ramp here as an example. Right at the end of it it looks like the rail was busted off, and they put a cap or something, like a metal cap with two big bolts and that sort of thing, so that the hole wasn't open or whatever sort of thing. There's quite a few of them kicking around all over town, still sitting there. There's pieces of steel sticking out of the ground like that sort of thing. And I've seen senior citizens trip on those things and, just about decapitate themselves. And there they sit. And I mentioned it to the guys at the town, like some of the regular workers. I know most of them all by heart. And, okay, we'll take it under consideration. Whether that's passed on or whether there's anything, obviously nothing's been done about it, okay? It's a danger, okay? Again, on a personal note, when it snows a lot, grade the cemetery road, please. I mean, we had a dump of snow there sort of thing, and I got stuck in there. I'm visiting my wife in there. I've got, a personal interest in there. And again, I'm doing my due diligence when I'm there. We go take the dogs for a walk, sort of. I pick up after my dogs. My wife comes for a walk with me, sort of thing. And at the same time, I pick garbage. And the only reward I get basically out of that is 10 cents a can if it's a beer can. And I pick them up and I take them home and I bag them. Okay, so do something. Respect the citizens of the PAW. Quit treating them like second-class citizens, all right? Do something for them once in a while. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention. I've still got a minute and 15 seconds here.
You're doing fine.
If somebody wants to comment on that on their time, and I'll have something real quick for a minute there.
We'll let you go over time, don't worry.
I guess there's not much of a crowd.
Well, there's a
behind me.
big crowd here tonight.
There's not much of a crowd, is there? No, I can't think of anything.
Are there
right now.
any questions then from council?
Like I supplied you guys a list, so there's stuff that I'm concerned about. I'm not making excuses, like I say, for you guys sort of thing. You guys wanted the job as town councilors. You obviously inherited the t-shirts with the target painted on your back. You guys are obviously responsible about everything that's happening now in the town and before previous councils accept it. And if you're going to use the excuse, oh, it was the previous council, then you're going to start to sound like the Conservatives and the NDP battling back. Oh, it's their fault, it wasn't our fault sort of thing. Come on, you guys. Oh, I know what it is. It's another can of worms, which I won't open unless you guys really get me mad. Last time I come in here, my major concern was my taxes went up $400. I phoned, I complained, I talked to the Swan River people. The guy came in, he properly reassessed my property. I invited him in, come and see, look at this, oh yeah, this and that and the other thing. My taxes went down $300 and some odd dollars. Now, if I were to put that juicy little bit of information out, I don't know how many people...
You just did.
Listen, right, but I don't know how many people are going to tune into the town council. It's not right. Everybody's tuning in right now. It's the Walking Dead sort of thing, so the town council meeting is nothing. If I put that out as a general meeting and everybody decided to contest the taxes, and everybody decided tax structure would come in even more sort of thing, you don't want that can of worms open either sort of thing. There's something that happened, and I don't know why, and I don't know how people jiggered and figured and that sort of thing with the pencils and stuff like that to bring the taxes up. We're looking at a major disaster coming in the PAW here right now. Okay? We don't know for sure what's happening with the mill or the railroad. IGA is on the verge of closing sort of thing. We're looking at going back into the dark ages. Basically, when I moved here in 1960, the only thing that was here was the railroad and the farms. And that's it. It was a quiet little one-horse town sort of thing. Tax structure was small. Of course, there were no services back then. There was one grader. In the RCMP, there was none. There was a town policeman with a station wagon. So, we're going back. Now, we're progressed. And sure, there's lots of other stuff going on. There's government, there's hospital, there's corrections, there's farming, and there's all sorts of stuff like that. But if you start trying to make up all these little promises and stuff like that, and looking to make it up somewhere, please don't put it on the backs of your taxpayers, because you're just disrespecting us again. And every once in a while, yeah, because of your little rules, we don't, sidewalk machine doesn't plow driveways and stuff like that. We don't do that because. Get rid of the because. Show a little respect, especially, like I don't care anymore. I bought the snow blower, I'm using it. Senior citizens, disabled, I've gone over this sort of thing. Let's not go over that again. All right?
Good.
I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody have any comments? Okay, we'll receive your letters of information. Thank you.
Okay. I was hoping we could start an argument here, but today is going to be kind of easy.
On the airport, John, I asked them if they would take it back, federal government in the last conference, and they said no.
How can they say no?
Yeah.
Why can't the paw turn around and say no and say, forget it, we don't want it anymore, it's losing us money. Either pay us enough to cover our expenses, or stick it. We got an airport that's closer here, basically, and I don't know how many flights you got in and out, like by Mississippi as well. And of course, there's another rumor going around sort of thing, and if you round off Mississippi Airport, they're not going to use the big airport just because. They'll move to Flin Flon. Look at all the money you're going to lose. So,
I was a big fan.
it's a losing proposition sort of thing, and there's no way you can write off that kind of money, 11 months out of 12. There's no way. Like I say, we're looking at giving the mill a break for 3 years, and that's fine. That's another thing. I've got people that work at the mill, and I kind of got an inside track sort of thing. If this first company is allowed to take over, you better watch them real careful, because this is the kind of company that will come in, will take over the thing, run it into the ground, and bury that place in a hole. And all of a sudden, from some way, shape, or form, Tolko will save. Tolko will pay them $20 million to take it over sort of thing, and then no more responsibility for us. There's $180 million worth of shutdown, returning it to nature, closing all those roads, and all that stuff sort of thing. You guys gotta be careful about these guys. They're one of these guys that they come in and they'll shut it down in 3 years, they'll sell everything, and we'll be devastated.
Thank you.
Just be careful.
Thank you. Okay, item number 5, CAO report.
So this is a report of general operations as of October 17th. The museum hosted the Adventure Caravan Group. The museum also prepared a PowerPoint presentation for the local grade 4 classes about local veterans and their participation in both world wars. Paint night was held again at the Wascana Inn, still popular. Summer art show has now been dismantled from the museum and installed a new art show from the Manitoba Arts Network called Reflections of the North. KRC received funding for the Fall Prevention Month. There's going to be 8 classes to be held. KRC is trying to set up babysitting course for Cormorant and OCN. We do have great success with our babysitting course. There's always a lot of children that participate. Young Guns Conditioning Camp was successful. Lots of fall programming is taking place at the Wellness Center right now. Free walking program starts November 1st. With this program, I understand the first people that sign up also get pedometers. I was going to say pedicures, but you're right, it's pedometers.
They're nice ones, too.
Yes. There was a grant received for 5 senior fitness classes. Red Cross lessons start at the pool on October 15th. Wellness Center, in partnership with Clean All, worked out a deal whereby Clean All will give a 10% discount for Wellness Center members. September saw 3,078 member workouts, which has increased since July and August. September numbers are up from 2015. We hired 2 arena attendants. The ice is in and programs are up and running, and the curling rink will be up and running by today, hopefully. Part-time cleaners were hired at the Wellness Center. Wellness Center lighting control program was repaired and is working well. Drainage ditch was put in behind the Wellness Center to move water away from the rink and the building. Maintenance of hot water tank at pool in the arena has been addressed. Installed cemetery runners. Memorial benches have been purchased and sold, as you can see around the community, along the walking path in different areas. There's cement benches, and these are memorial benches, and I think there's only a very few left. Pool testing course is planned for November. This is definitely going to be a cost savings to the town. What this will do is enable all staff to be able to do the pool testing rather than having to call staff in on weekends. Management and HR are reviewing and updating various job descriptions. Airport policies are being reviewed. There's been a few new hires for the landfill and the wellness center. Public safety officer participated in handing out of carnations for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We are getting some comments about how it's nice to see someone walking the streets. We're working with the zoning bylaws as it relates to bulletin signage. The EMO plan was reviewed and updated. The Board of Revision is currently in process. Jen, I think you said you had one complaint so far, so that's pretty good. CAO and Assistant CAO attended council training, working with Transport Canada and Wasco as it relates to the Paw Airport. Lots of fall prep and engineering. There's patching and potholes, curb, gutter forming, manhole and catch basin lowering, street sweeping, sewer jetting, cleaning ditches, culverts, catch basins, and grading back lanes. I know there has been a lot of complaints about the potholes. Sometimes they are a little wet and they can't necessarily work on them until it dries up a little bit. The school by MBCI, that's a really bad street, and again, we can't do a whole lot until the weather gives us a little more cooperation. Doing fall cleanup, new sweeper arrived and training took place on it. Working on costs for reduced speed zones for the school areas. This is not going to be a cheap task by any means. EcoFit Hydro is underway, great cost savings. I know we did it throughout our buildings with changing pretty much of light fixtures or with bulbs. Traffic study is near completion, and training for water treatment plant employees is still ongoing.
Thank you very much. Any observations? All right, we're moving to item number 7, committee, 7.11, leak detector. Resolution, please.
Moved by Councillor Rock, seconded by Councillor Zelinski. Whereas the town of The Paw has been using a leak detection device to help reduce water loss, and in the September of 2016, the engineering department sent the unit back to Ecologics for repairs, and were informed that the unit was unrepairable as they no longer make the parts. And whereas Ecologics will upgrade the unit with the new Leak Finder ST and provide the town a credit for the old unit. Therefore, be it resolved that council authorize the purchase of the Leak Finder ST with Ecologics in the amount of $14,595 from the Gas Tax Reserve Fund, which has a current balance of $1,415,006.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Just by way of comment, having this unit is a cost saver going forward. It allows them to continue to find leaks and not dig up a bunch of holes to find where it is, but to actually locate it first and then dig, so it's a valuable asset to have.
It certainly is. I'll call the question. All in favor? It is carried. All right, item number 7.12, MIT snow removal agreement.
Moved by Councillor Rock, seconded by Councillor Zelinski. Resolved that council authorize the mayor to sign the snow removal agreement with the Government of Manitoba as represented by the Minister of Manitoba Infrastructure and Transportation, expiring April 30th, 2017, for the removal of snow on highways within the town of The Paw.
Any discussion on this matter? Mr. Hebert left a few minutes too early. Call the question. All is in favor? Okay. 7.2.1, 2017 interim budget.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock, whereas Section 63 of the Municipal Act states that a council may adopt an interim operation budget to have an effect only until the council adopts the operating budget for the fiscal year. And whereas the Act requires that the interim operation budget be passed before January 1st. And whereas the proposed interim operation budget provides funding for the town operations until such time as the final budget is approved. Therefore, be it resolved that council approve the 2017 interim budget be based on the approved 2016 financial plan in the amount of $8,885,638, which consists of the following. General government services, $1,580,585. Protective services, $2,698,127. Transportation services, $2,051,224. Environmental services, $423,309. Recreation and cultural services, $1,319,415. And fiscal services in the amount of $718,079.
Any discussion on this? Councilor Rock.
I'm really pleased to see this come forward at this early time. And also, I like the fact that we're getting additional information and clarity with regard to how it breaks out. I've had some problems with it in the past, but I think this helps to resolve that and move it forward.
Any other thoughts? Call the question, all in favor? Opposed, if any, it's carried. Lost track of myself. 7.2.3, payment of property taxes. Whoop, pardon me, 7.2.2, the Paul Airport letter of acceptance for the audit.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and the assistant CAO to sign the letter of acceptance in order for Collins Barrow HMA LLP to move forward with the 2015 audit for the Paw Airport.
Discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried. 7.2.3, payment of property taxes.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, whereas on September 19th, 2016, Council passed a resolution authorizing the mayor and the assistant CAO to sign a quit-claim agreement with Cambrian Vehicle Leasing whereby the town took ownership of the building located on town property at the Paw Airport. Therefore, be it resolved that Council authorize the payment of property taxes in the amount of $8,305.93, being the property taxes for 2014, 15, and 16 for roll number 457302000.
Any discussion on this item?
This will bring conclusion to a long-standing issue.
A long standing issue. Any other comments? Call the question, all in favor? It's carried. Uh, 7.2.4, payrolls and accounts.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, be it resolved that Council authorize the following accounts: payroll period number 20 in the amount of $105,630.83. Town of the Paw checks 17687 to 17755 and 17776 in the amount of $2,713,564.06. KRC checks 5732 to 5755 in the amount of $14,798.20. And electronic funds transfer in the amount of $41,440.37.
Any discussion on this? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. 7.2.5, the Paw Regional Library audited financial statement.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, be it resolved that Council accept the auditor's financial statements for the Paw Regional Library for the year ending December 31, 2015, as prepared by Collins Barrow HMA LLP.
Any discussion on this? No, call the question, all in favor? It is carried. .2.6, finance report ending June 2016.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Fuller. Resolved that council authorize the financial statement for the period ending June 30th, 2016 be approved as prepared and presented by Jay Madden, Chief Financial Officer.
Any discussion on this item? Call the question, all in favor? It's carried. 7.2.7, emergency measures plan.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Forward, whereas in accordance with Section 1D of the Emergency Measures Act, every local and authority shall prepare and adopt emergency preparedness programs and emergency plans and submit them to the coordinator for approval in coordination with other emergency programs and emergency plans. And whereas these plans must be updated on an annual basis, therefore be it resolved that Council adopt the Town of the Fall Emergency Measures Plan as presented for 2016.
Any discussion? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? It's carried. Seven point 2.8, Recreational Infrastructure Reserve Fund.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Forward, whereas 25% of the accommodation tax is transferred into a recreational infrastructure reserve fund. And whereas the purpose of this fund is to provide for recreational facilities and structures, which will enable the Town of the Fall to host or sponsor events which would bring people to the community. And whereas the Town of the Fall has a debenture for the Wellness Centre being bylaw number 4435, which is paid by the ratepayers each year. And whereas Council believes it is in the best interest to reduce this debenture being a tax burden from the ratepayers of the Town of the Fall. Therefore, be it resolved that Council authorize the transfer of monies from the Recreational Infrastructure Reserve Fund to be allocated towards a debenture payment for the Wellness Centre being bylaw number 4435, with the balance of the debenture to be paid for by the ratepayers of the Town of the Fall.
What?
That was supposed to be Alan's.
Say
My
thank you,
goodness.
Alan.
Any questions?
Would council be interested in Councillor Gibbs' response?
Oh, yes, please, of course.
This resolution represents 10% of the shortfall we will be facing with the closure of Tolko. In addition to that, this comes at no cost to the ratepayers of the town. It makes solid business sense to move forward with this proposal.
Yes.
Agree entirely with that.
And this is an annual thing? Are we just doing this for 1 year when we're passing this resolution, or is it an ongoing thing?
I think the idea is that it will be ongoing.
Is that what's happening?
It's whatever at your discretion. Next year, you may decide to do differently than just pass resolutions.
This is a 1 year.
Is there any way that we can formalize that?
I think we talked about that,
Did we?
but we decided that to go in and we'd have to change the bylaw.
We have to change the bylaw?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and in 2 years, there might be a new council that,
And they'll just change the bylaw back to
yeah,
what they
exactly.
want, so it's just as easy to do it
by
by.
resolution.
Sure.
Any other comments? Call the question. All in favor? It's carried.
So in case people are keeping track, that's 10% already right there. I mean, I know that's a big question. Where's the money coming from?
That's 10% without any help from anybody.
Yes.
Great.
Just
All right.
wanted to make sure that, that was a good comment by Councillor Gibbs, so let's make sure that that's really driven home.
7.4.1, Front Desk Attendant Resolution required.
Short one.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Forward, resolved that Council adopt a revised job description for the front desk attendant at the Wellness Centre as per attached. There.
Okay, any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Good stuff. 7.6.1, Workplace Violence and Harassment Policy.
Moved by Councillor Commodore, seconded by myself, whereas there was a site inspection at the PA Airport as per Part 2, Canada Labour Code Occupational Health and Safety, and whereas due to the fact that the airport operates as a federal component, a new workplace violence and harassment policy under the Canada Labour Code and Occupational Health and Safety is required, therefore be it resolved that Council authorize the federal workplace violence and harassment policy for the PA Airport.
Any discussion?
Slightly different than our normal workplace situation because it is it's operated under federal regulation. So therefore a slightly modified workplace violence and harassment policy.
Okay. Call the question. All in favor? Good. Okay, 7.7, board minutes from the museum will receive as information. 9.1, 1, the Paul Handy Van, the Public Transit Infrastructure Fund Resolution.
Moved by Councillor Commodore, seconded by myself, whereas the town of the Pas has applied for cost-shared funding under the Public Transit Infrastructure Fund for the purchase of a new handy van, and whereas this project meets the incremental requirements of PTIF, meaning the project would not otherwise have been undertaken between April 1st, 2016 and March 31st, 2018, and the project would not have been undertaken without federal funding. And whereas the town of the Pas attests that this project can be completed by March 31st, 2018, therefore be it resolved that the town of the Pas will proceed with this project upon approval and a signed agreement in place with Manitoba.
Okay, any discussion? Call the question, all in favor? Okay, we'll move to reports. We received the board minutes from the Museum, Chamber of Commerce. Councillor Commodore?
Oh, I was there for a quick minute because I had 3 meetings that night. But it was a very short meeting. They have, getting ready for the Citizen and Business of the Year. They have 2 nominees already for Citizens of the Year.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that will be held November 23rd at the Kikuak. There's a deadline, November 14th, everything's in the paper. It's $40 a ticket. They were looking at doing a community Christmas party, but everything's just too close between the Citizen and the business and trying to get the Christmas party going on at the same time, but it's something for the future, since we don't have a community Christmas party for the downtown. We used to have one years and years ago, and they were quite nice, so they're going to try to
Best Christmas party
do it.
ever.
Yeah.
Was the Chamber Christmas party.
We did one 10 on 10 businesses at 10 o'clock, and that was pretty nice. And they were going to do another one. There was supposed to be one on the 19th, but they fell short of people. But they're still working on it. Our secretary, Shirley, is going to be working at home. She has some personal, she needs to be home with her husband. And I have the minutes from the last meeting. I didn't give them to Jen, but I can put them through if everybody wants to do a quick scan. And, yeah. And we still don't have a president. Carrie Atchison is actually kind of stepping up.
Good.
Trying to handle it. We're all taking turns.
The Paul Handy Justice Network, no meeting. Sustainable Forest, I imagine there was a meeting.
Not a meeting till November.
Yeah. Citizens on Patrol, Councillor Zelinski.
I wasn't at the last meeting. Councillor Commodore?
No, I missed that one too. There was another meeting that night.
Well, we had a meeting
There's
here.
another one, yeah. I don't have the minutes.
Okay. Kelsey Recreation Commission, Councillor Zelinski.
Unable to meet quorum.
Again,
Once again.
just 6 months now, I believe.
Yes, they had
Yes.
a meeting in May.
Pretty sure.
We're having one scheduled for November, so
Wonderful. Maybe they'll bring some.
fingers
snacks.
crossed.
Christmas goodies. Let's see, what's next? DuPont Community Renewal Corporation, Councillor Marsh.
Our meeting is actually tomorrow, but I just want to remind everybody that the zombie walk is this Friday, so it leaves the Legion at 5:30. They're having a bonfire and hot dogs down at Devon Park following the walk, so it goes from the Legion to Devon Park, short route this year because it's supposed to be kind of chilly. And then Kelsey Rec and the Pot in Motion Committee are sponsoring a free skate at the Ray H. Johnson Arena from 7:30 to 9:30 as well on Friday. So if you don't want to do the zombie walk, you're more than welcome to go and participate in the free skate.
Library Board, Councillor Zelinski.
Yes, we had a meeting. Pretty much business as usual. Circulation is up, visits are up. They've had a few incidents, but nothing major, nothing, business as usual.
Okay. Joint Committee of Council, Councillor Commodore. Emma. Meeting?
Sorry, just a minute, mental blank.
Oh.
It's called the brain bubble.
We
Yeah,
had
go
a
ahead,
meeting,
Brian.
I forget what the date was, but about a week and a half ago, and we're looking at consideration of recreational fees for providing services to people from outside our community and that, and how we can approach it and deal with it. That's been a topic of discussion that's still moving forward. And that was the major discussion I believe we had.
That was, yeah. It's to deal with the people at Clearwater Lake and the residents at Rocky Lake. So we have the numbers, and we kind of have figured out the amount, but it's not written in stone yet.
Okay. All right, Kelsey School Division, no meeting. So last Friday, I attended a meeting at the Kikiwak Inn that was put on by what was called the Northern Delegation. The Northern Delegation is a group of communities that came together, communities up and down the Bay Line, to see what we could do about getting some sort of a plan moving forward to get the rail line operational. And the 23 communities have agreed to be on that Northern Delegation. There is also another offer that's on the table, if you will, from being headed up by Matthias Cologne First Nation. It has a number of communities that have signed up on theirs too. But what we found out was that none of the communities that had signed up are located along the rail line, and those that were had reneged their sponsorship of the Matthias Cologne and are part of this Northern Delegation. So we have now moved it forward. There where we have two co-chairs. One co-chair is the Mayor of Churchill, Michael Spence. The other co-chair is the new chief of the Opaskwayak Cree Nation, Christian Sinclair. They have formed an ad hoc committee, and I expect to hear something back from them within a week or so. So that's what happened. It's just you and the crowd, Mr. Citizen. Would you want to ask any questions or anything? That's what I wanted to do. All right, can we move?
Recycle center?
Sorry? Yep.
Sure, don't forget about the recycling center.
I'm sorry. How did I do that?
You had a meeting?
It's top on the right. How about the recycling center?
Well, so, some things to report. Tonnage at this point in 2016 is slightly under last year's tonnage in 2015, which is kind of surprising considering we've gone curbside. So don't know what to make of that. Our manager attended the Manitoba Association of Regional Recyclers seminar at Winnipeg. They do an annual kind of 2 or 3 day session in Winnipeg, typically, sometimes Brandon, where they go out and see existing facilities and talk about upcoming policy and program in Manitoba. Luckily, she was able to attend, and she came back with some great information and some good leads on things like additional funding and additional programs that are expected to come up. Talked a little bit about running a hazardous materials collection site at the recycle center. We have some storefront places in town that are collecting things like paints, but there are agricultural elements that need to be dealt with. And she was approached by, can't remember the name of the group, but there is a group like the Farm or Agricultural Recycling of Manitoba or something like that, and they have funding to support regional places to pick up these things. So she's exploring that. We started discussions on the budget for 2017. Expect to have a draft by the end of our November meeting on November the 16th or 14th, I can't remember which day it is, that we will provide to council to give them an indication, to all three councils that fund the center, to give them an indication of where we're headed for the next year. Blue bins were received just today, I think, from that award for the community cleanup. They'll be distributed in this upcoming month. Marjorie is working on a plan for distribution. We have some drainage issues on site at the recycle center with all this moisture hanging around. So they're dealing with that out there, but if you happen to go out to the site, you might want to be a little bit careful about where you drive your truck, because you might not get it out of there. With respect to curbside and back lane collection, it's faring pretty well. There are some minor hiccups. If you do get missed, most people know to check out the Facebook page and send a message to the center. Typically Marjorie monitors that fairly frequently and will arrange for somebody to get by your place. And we also are looking at, along with the budget review, an operational review for the handling of recyclables. Every year or two, we seem to be able to make operational improvements that lessen our costs and improve our efficiencies. So with some of these new programs, we're hoping to tap some capital money and reduce some of our operating costs out there as well. That's it.
Great, I thought it was, I thought they did an incredibly good job of saying, hey, October 17th, we'll be going down the back alleys. Just an amazingly good job. It was in the newspapers, all over the radios, all over Facebook, it was all over everywhere. And all last week when I would be going to work, I would see people that moved it out to the front curb, and I thought, I just don't know how you missed that story. I just do not know how you missed that story. But, so, they go and they complain, of course, and people come around and pick it up, and it's all gone. So, it's a good deal. All right, can we, please...
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Jordan did that. I told him.